I have listened to over 500 hours of productivity podcasts, and in this video I'm going to be breaking down the 6 key lessons I've learned from the hundreds and hundreds of podcasts I listen to, specifically on the topic of being productive. Hello, I'm Dylan, I'm 18, I coach unproductive people to turn productive using tactical techniques and strategies that changed my life forever. I personally spent 5,000 hours or 210 days straight wasting any potential I had on Call of Duty, other such video games, and now I've turned it around. I effortlessly and easily breeze through large amounts of my work for my business, education, personal development goals, and I can single-handedly say the lessons I'll teach you in this video have given me either an actionable step to improve my productivity or a philosophical insight to actually change my mindset in terms of productivity and how I'm getting work done. So to start, Dr. Gad Saad, a gentleman who went on a podcast with Chris Williamson on Modern Wisdom. They were talking about productivity, tactics to improve your work efficiency, and he said, and I quote, "Genuine hope or optimism is a pure, all-purpose elixir for life." And this resonated with me. When I listened to this, I was on the way home from college, and I generally stopped the car, pulled over, and wrote it down immediately because I knew how powerful this quote was. If you do not have faith, if you do not have purpose, if you do not have a drive to do the work because you can see the fruits of your labor, you can see what this work is going to get you, you're not going to be able to get it done efficiently and effectively because you don't have faith in what you're doing. If you can't realize the business work you're doing now will give you this benefit, which will inevitably lead to the financial success you want, or the study and the revision you're doing now is going to give you this benefit, this grade, this education, which will give you the end result you want, then you're not going to be able to get the work done productively because you generally don't know why you're doing this. And the actionable step I kind of came to from this quote is that you should use the why chain method. Ask yourself, why am I doing this work? And you'll get an answer. So why am I recording this video? Because I want to provide free help to people. Why do I want to do that? Because I was in a position of unproductivity, procrastination, and it felt bad. And I want to help people get out of that situation. Why do you want to do that? Because maybe people will want to work with me and it'll be a win-win. I'll make some money, they'll improve their productivity, and it'll win-win. Why do I want to do that? Because then I can support myself, support my friends, support my family in terms of financial help. Why do I want to do that? Because I've been in positions before where I've had zero in my bank account. I've been in a different country. You've got to lend off friends, you've got to scab off friends, and it's not a nice position to be in. And you end up coming to this bottom line emotion, this bottom line feeling, this bottom line conclusion of why you're actually doing the work. So the reason I'm recording this video is so I'm not put in that position as I was before in a completely different country, in Paris, with zero in my bank account, scabbing off my friends and my brother for money to survive, pretty much, to get home. And then and you can see why it's powerful, because now, am I going to be demotivated to record this video? Am I going to be in this position of procrastination? And the answer is no, because I know the intrinsic feeling of why I should be motivated to do this work. And for you, it might be something different, but you'll get to about 5 or 6 whys down the chain, and you'll finally find the bottom line, the conclusion, the conclusive result of why you should do the work and why you're doing it. And I hope it'll relink the reason with the effort, and then you'll be productive, you'll get it done, and you'll be motivated to do the work. The second quote, and again from the exact same guy, Dr. Gad Saad, is dopamine is not about the pursuit of happiness, it's about the happiness of pursuit. And this is a nice reframe for me, because I googled it, I searched it, and I did research into neuroscience after I heard this quote, because I always believed that dopamine is the motivation hormone that's released into your brain when you do things that are good for you. And whether that's work, or whether that's fitness, or whether that's eating the right foods, dopamine is secreted. But dopamine is actually secreted upon the pursuit of that result. So when you think about doing work and you hype yourself up, oh, I need to do this work, I'm going to do this work in 5 minutes, then dopamine is secreted, and you have the highest amount of dopamine as you're doing the work. And then when you finally reach the end result of completing the work you said yourself you're going to complete, the tiniest little bit of dopamine is actually released as a reward at the end. And that was so interesting to me, and it might be interesting to you. And the actionable step you can take from this is just starting the work will give you the most amount of dopamine, the most amount of motivation based on neurobiology than even completing the work. And this is why the 2-minute rule and the 1-minute rule and the 5-minute rule are so effective, because if you just work for 5 minutes straight, you will have a built up mountain of dopamine, allowing you to do the rest of the work you set yourself. So just attempt the work for 2, 3, 4 minutes, and then you will feel motivated to do the rest, because the dopamine is released upon the pursuit of happiness, the pursuit of success, not when success is reached. And that's the second thing I learned. The third thing I learned from 500 hours of productivity podcasts is general ambition causes anxiety, and specified ambition causes direction. If a man knows not where he's going, no wind is favorable. I love that quote so much. I even put it on the front of my product. But if you do not have a plan to where you're going, you will not reach your destination. No port is the right port without destination. There's so many quotes that explain this, but it's so true. If you do not have a plan to be productive, you are planning to fail. And whether that's recorded in a physical planner or an optimized online daily planner that I'm selling in the description for just 17 pence per day, you need to have a clear cut plan for what you need to get done, or you will falter in procrastination. The fourth thing I've learned from 500 hours of productivity podcast consumption is delayed gratification in the extreme leads to no gratification. And I heard this recently from Bill Perkins, who's on a podcast with Chris Williamson again, and it was incredible insight. Again, I wrote it down, I studied it, and I've implemented it in my life, because I've realized that I was delaying the gratification. I'll do that after I do the work. I'll do that after I do the work. I'll do that after the work. And then all of a sudden, the day's gone. The week's gone, the month's gone, and you can't do what you said you were going to do because you pushed it so far and focused so much on the work that you haven't got the gratification. And gratification is important not only for your general emotional stability, for your mental health, but it's also important to link the work you're doing with the reward you're going to get. So if you did a bunch of work and then you had a super nice lunch, the next time you do the work and you have the nice lunch, and the next time you do the work you have a nice lunch, by the fourth time of doing the work, your brain is going to be expecting a reward, so you're going to have more dopamine secreted into the brain, allowing you to get the work done easier because you gratified yourself upon completion of the work. So it's important to make sure you give yourself reward after doing the work, or you won't be motivated to do it the next time you do it. I thought that was super useful. The fifth thing I've learned from over 200 episodes consumed on productivity, and this is a bit of a mouthful, pronouncial communication shift in inner self-talk. And this is a bit of mumbo jumbo, but essentially it means the way you speak to yourself is going to correlate with either success or unsuccess, or failure, or disappointment. Because if you tell yourself you're productive, if you look in the mirror and you know you do work efficiently, effectively, easily, even when you don't, you're going to gaslight yourself, you're going to trick yourself, you're going to fill yourself up with this hype, this motivation, this drive to complete the work, so you will do it productively. How you see yourself is how you actualize yourself in reality, and if you see yourself as someone productive, you will be productive. Whereas on the counter, and I spoke to friends, I spoke to clients, and they have this negative inner self-talk. They say to themselves, I'm a procrastinator, I try and do work, but I just suck, I procrastinate, I'm unmotivated to do the work. When they sit down, they've planted the seed of failure, and guess what they do? They sit down, they can't do the work, they quit, they fail, they disappoint themselves. So the actionable step from this quote, and it was actually from a lady she's been a therapist for 20 years, she gave this really insightful piece. Just changing the way you speak to yourself and the pronoun you use when you speak to yourself is an effective way to be more productive, number one, and improve your mental stability, number two, because if instead of saying, I'm productive, say, Dylan's productive, Dylan's going to do this, come on Dylan, you got this, and just speaking from the third person inside your own brain gives you a unique intrinsic drive to do it because of the way the brain's wired. So just tell yourself you're feeling tired, you're feeling like you're going to procrastinate. Just tell yourself, come on, you got this. Speak in the third person, have this pronounal shift in inner self-talk, and you might find yourself being more productive. The sixth thing and the final thing I've learned from over 500 hours listened of productivity podcasts, and this is a little bit more specific to some of my viewers and me personally, but you don't have to like money to earn money. See, I'm sure a lot of you watching this are entrepreneurs or they're in business and they want to get their work done productively, but they find themselves procrastinating because of this intrinsic disgust of money. Especially if you're growing up in the UK or in America and the Western countries of the world, money is frowned upon. There's more of this tall poppy syndrome. You want to get money, and whether it be your parents, whether it be your friends, whether it be your family, they try and put you down. They try and limit it because money is seen as this kind of evil thing. In Christianity, in the Bible, in Islam, the major religious texts paste money as the evil, the root of all evil. Money is not the root of all evil. The desire and the over contemplation of money is the root of all evil. The lust for money is the root of all evil. So you don't have to like money to earn money. It was a really unique and useful insight for me, and I don't know if it'll apply to you, but I hope it does. And if you're looking to get more help from me on a more personal level, I'll work with you one-to-one, hold your hand through the trials and tribulations of productivity. I'll give you daily check-ins, my exclusive productivity strategy, a free award-winning physical planner, templates, trackers, tools, and everything you need to be productive to finally reap the rewards of success in the endeavor you're trying to succeed in 2025. If that sounds interesting, check it out. I appreciate you for watching. Thanks.